Pregame.com.
I'm Vegas Runner, here with Brian Leonard, going to break down some NBA primetime action. This one should attract plenty of betting action. Orlando Magic travel to South Beach to take on King James and the Miami Heat. I made my true line Heat -8. You made them 8.5. We're right there, consensus, as far as what the Heat should be favored by. What do you think this line comes out at? Higher?
It may come out a little bit higher.
I'm hoping it does.
Yeah, I think it will. Miami's playing their best ball of the season right now, playing very good ball. Out of my last 8 games, the only loss I had was going against Miami. And so, but I got no problem going against them again. I kind of like Orlando. What's your thoughts on this?
I like Orlando as well. And the biggest reason to me, and it may look like the simplest reason, is this. When you look at the first time they played, which was just a week ago, even though Miami had a better shooting percentage, field goal percentage, even though Orlando had more turnovers, Orlando ended up beating them by 13 points for one reason only. They got their three-pointers to go in. And that's what's going to happen Sunday. Here's why. Miami Heat, they may be number 1 in points scored, maybe number 1 in field goal percentage as far as offense goes, number 4 in three-point field goal percentage. But on the defensive side of the ball, they just can't defend against the three. They're 21st in the NBA allowing three-point field goal percentage. And I don't think that's going to change against the second-best team in the entire NBA as shooting down the three. I mean, if the Heat weren't so bad at covering the three-point shot, then I'd say, you know what, maybe the first game, Orlando was at home, the ball was going in the basket for them, they were knocking them down, it's not going to happen on the road. But why shouldn't it happen if Miami can't defend it?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the key to this game, Orlando hitting the threes. And that's really a key to any Orlando game.
Yeah.
But Miami's not a good matchup for them, actually. And, take a look at Orlando. They're 4-1 against the spread on the season as a road dog, 8-2 on the road as of late. They played very well on the road. The matchup favors the Orlando Magic in this game, and both teams are rested. They had the one-day arrest.
They'll be fine.
Last time they were both unrested in that game. I took a look at how Miami has done this year against teams that should be in the playoffs, the upper echelon teams. They're only 4-4 against the spread at home against those teams, and they're 5-5 against the spread at home when rested. You're always paying a premium for Miami because they're a high-scoring team, and they've got 2 of the most dynamic players in the NBA. Nobody wants any part of Orlando. It's a team, when Orlando went bad, they went bad, really bad, because they weren't hitting their threes. Since they started hitting some threes again, all of a sudden they're sneaking up on everybody. They're playing good ball again. I agree. The matchup here for the three-point line, I think, is key in this game. And a lot of people will look at that Miami revenge in this game thinking, well, they just lost the other day 102-89 to Orlando. This is where they come back to get them. But as Marco has pointed out in the past, this is their first game back from a road trip. That's always a tough position to be in. They started the road trip in Orlando. Now they're coming back home, first game at home against Orlando. I like the situation for Orlando. I like the matchups for Orlando. I like Orlando.
I agree. I think Orlando is one of the most undervalued teams because of the way they came into the season with what's going to happen to Dwight Howard. There was so much surrounding that the perception was the chemistry can't be there. You know what I mean? This is a guy who doesn't obviously want to be playing there. The team don't know if he's going to be there when the season's over. So it's kind of a team we've been overlooking, at least the betting market's been overlooking. And they've responded by going 17-13 against the spread. They've responded by going 19-11 straight up. And yet nobody's talking about this team who's tied for second place and now finds themselves only 4 back behind this Miami Heat team. This is a big game for Orlando as well. To be able to beat the Heat again twice in a matter of 10 days, I mean, it's a big game for them. I see no reason why Miami, who has revenge, is going to come in as the more motivated team. I think the Magic are just as motivated to be able to show that they can beat this Heat team, you know. I agree with you. I like Orlando in this spot. I think the price is going to come out to where the value's on the Orlando side, and I would not be at all surprised if they're right there at the end of the game with a chance to win it.
Yeah, and keep in mind from the motivational standpoint, Orlando was the team in Florida. All of a sudden, Miami gets the big superstars. Now they're an afterthought.
Yeah.
So anytime they get a chance to beat an in-state school, or in-state school, I
Yeah.
haven't so watched them in college sports, an in-state team, I mean, that's big for Orlando.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger game for Orlando than it is for the Miami Heat.
Especially when you're 4 games behind in your own division.
Exactly. Now, you brought up a great point before we went on camera. All-Star break right around the corner. It'll be in Orlando.
Yep. I was going to pick your brain a little bit on what you do before the All-Star break. What I like to do is, I'm always trying to put myself in the position of the players. If I'm a player and I'm playing for the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm a team that's likely not going to the playoffs, I can't wait for that All-Star break to come on. If I'm a veteran team, if I'm the Chicago Bulls, if I'm the Miami Heat, if I'm San Antonio, I know I can pick up a couple of extra wins here while the other guys are
looking ahead while they're calling for their golf trips.
If I play for San Antonio and I'm playing the Detroit Pistons and we've got a 10-point lead at halftime, I know the Pistons aren't coming back in that second half because they're already planning their vacation. I say, well, this one's a loss. Let's just pack it up, worry about tomorrow. I think it's going to be even more important this year when you've got such a condensed schedule. I think it's going to be great to play these veteran teams who are used to being in the playoffs, know that they can pick up that extra win, possibly an extra spot, come playoff time, moving up the ladder a little bit. Those are the teams I love to play.
I agree. I think there's great value there. And the other thing I look at is the record, because you're at that point where you have some season goals that you could accomplish, such as we want to be above 500. A team that may not be in contention, but their goal is to be a 500 team. And here they are 2 games below with 4 games in front of them. They may play hard where, they wouldn't have really any reason to otherwise. There's no other motivation to, but now there's a little season goal ahead of them. So I agree with you. I mean, it doesn't, nothing to do with this game in general, but just because we're talking Orlando Magic, that's who's hosting this year's All-Star game. But getting back to this game, we're both going to grab the points with the Magic here. We expect the 3-point shots to fall just like they did a week ago. Sorry, King James, but Dwight Howard's going to beat you again. Big 3 last time, 60 points. Rest of the team did absolutely nothing. You're not going to beat a team like the Magic doing that. We'll take the Magic plus the points on Sunday. Don't forget, pregamevideos.com for all 4 of me and Brian's videos, and everyone else's at pregame. It's a great thread, a lot of conversation. It's going to do it for this week. We'll be back next week doing more vids.